Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Rachel Frederick. Imagine, if you will, that you're lying on the couch on a calm Sunday afternoon watching TV. You doze off, only to be awakened sometime later by an annoying and persistent buzz coming from your television set. It's the emergency broadcast system. Only this time there is no reassuring voice coming on to tell you that this is only a test. Seconds later, your electricity goes out. You reach for your cell phone. No signal. You amble outside to see your neighbors coming out on their lawns, also confused. You gather around in small groups waiting for your electricity to come back on, but it doesn't. Somebody in the group has found a battery-powered radio and you all gather around to listen. And maybe you hear words like national disaster or terrorist attack. And then you hear words like infrastructure and then words like gone. What do you do next? Well, ladies and gentlemen, what you do next and how well you survive the aftermath of any disaster depends on how well you have prepared for it. All of us remember the aftermath of Hurricane Andrew, Hurricane Katrina, the tornadoes which ravaged Joplin, the wildfires currently raging on the West Coast, and we also remember the chaos which erupted, the looting, the violence, the shortages, and I'm sure that also you all remember at least one foreign or domestic terrorist attack with political, maniacal, or unknown agendas, the coordinated terrorist attack on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, the bombing of the Alfred P. Murrah building. While we are constantly under the threat of a widespread natural disaster, with the 10th anniversary of 9/11 currently upon us and our national status elevated, we are doubly vulnerable and we must prepare. Consider, if you will, these facts. Another disaster or coordinated terrorist attack against our banking, our gas pipelines, water pipelines, food stores, or other important infrastructures could happen. However well funded, the terrorist attacks on 9/11 were carried out by a relatively small group of terrorists. The U.S. has almost 7,500 miles of unenforced border between Canada and Mexico, with 313 million legal entries per year. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security also estimates that 10.8 million illegal aliens are currently living in the United States. And according to the Council on Foreign Relations, 1/3 of terrorism in the United States was conducted by non-Islamic American extremists from 1980 to 2001. And from 2002 to 2005, that number went up 95%. Because we cannot know the intent of every person living, born, or entering the United States, nor can we change the ideology of those bent on our destruction, it is easy to imagine that a large-scale disaster or well-organized group of foreign and/or domestic terrorists strategically placed throughout the United States using chemical, biological, or nuclear warfare could cause inconceivable damage on a national level. FEMA, or the Federal Emergency Management Agency, suggests that in any disaster you should anticipate an interruption in gas, water, electric, and sewage treatment services, and therefore advises that every single person should store, among other things, a gallon of water per day for at least 3 days for sanitation and drinking, household chlorine bleach, and a medicine dropper. Because when diluted 9 parts of water to 1 part bleach, bleach can be used as a disinfectant. And in an emergency, you can use it to treat drinking water by using 16 drops of bleach, regular bleach, per gallon of water. And they also advise you have at least a 3-day supply of non-perishable food items, a battery-powered or hand-crank radio, flashlights, extra batteries, a first aid kit and a first aid book, a whistle to signal for help, a dust mask to help filter contaminated air, and plastic sheeting and duct tape to shelter in place. They also suggest that you have baby wipes, garbage bags, and plastic bag ties for personal sanitation. They also suggest that you have tools to turn off utilities. FEMA also recommends that you have a can opener, local maps, cell phones with chargers, infant formula and diapers for those of us who have children, pet food and extra water for your pet, important documents, cash, traveler's checks, and even change. They suggest you have a sleeping bag, warm blankets for each person, a complete change of clothing including long sleeves, long pants, and sturdy shoes, and a fire extinguisher and matches in a waterproof container. FEMA's list, however, is not inclusive because they operate on the assumption that help will be forthcoming in 1 to 3 days. However, for days, blues,
become predatory to safer children. And these people are more reluctant than strangers, because a stranger will not hesitate to kill you or rob you for what you have. Now you might be thinking, not me, but there's an old adage that says, never say never. People throughout history have done immoral, regrettable, and often despicable things in the name of survival. The survivors of the Andes plane crash, for instance, the Donner Party, the Titanic survivors. Now, Charles Darwin once said, "It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change." Therefore, to survive, we must follow similar advice. Prepare for a changed world. Expect social breakdown, and amass a large supply of items suited for both an insulated survival and evacuation. Remain vigilant to our national alert status and follow FEMA's recommendations. But also start early, because one thing that the aforementioned natural disasters and terrorist attacks have in common is that they all were unprecedented events which caused a nationwide panic, and that panic triggered a nationwide assault on grocery stores and gas stations. So start today and we will all be better equipped to survive the worst while we hope for the best. Thank you.